Hello Year 10, welcome to the week beginning the 13th of July. This week's focus is again on language paper 1. Remember we are looking at the CLAP, okay? So it's context, language, audience and purpose that you need to establish before you read the source. So thinking, what are the main events? From whose perspective is it written? Okay, so while you're reading the source that I'm going to send you via a Word document, you should start annotating, labelling, highlighting and identifying the language techniques, the context, the audience and the purpose as you read. Okay, so you read it once, and as you're going through reading it for the first time, you should be making sure that you are identifying, annotating, labelling, highlighting as you read. Okay, so spend 5 minutes reading the source, establishing those 4 things, and go through doing as it says on the screen. So as I said, this week's objective is to further develop your ability to construct successful responses to questions 1 to 4 on language paper 1. Question 1. You shouldn't spend any more than 5 minutes answering. Okay. 10 minutes obviously if you're counting the bit where you reread the extract and obviously where you're highlighting. So your question for question 1 is to list 4 things you learn about Katie Brown. So your answers may include, and this, don't forget, this is from lines 1 to 5, that Katie is packing a bag, that she's upset, she's angry, she's leaving, she's running away, or she's taking clothes and toiletries with her. So you've got 6 possible answers there. You only need to obviously do 4 to give yourself a mark out of 4. Okay, question 2, you should spend between 10 to 12 minutes, 15, obviously if you're highlighting again the most effective examples of language. So question 2 is, how does the writer use language to convey Katie's emotions? I want to pause the screen now and have a read of the instructions and the extract again. Okay, so on the screen in front of you is the extract still. Okay, so on the right hand side, and on the left hand side you've got some possible responses that you could have had to this question. So remember, it's 8 marks, okay, 10 minutes, 12 minutes maximum. To get a level 4 you have to be perceptive, which is between 7 and 8 marks. Level 3, 5 to 6, which is clear. Level 2, which is 3 to 4 marks out of 8, which is some understanding. And level 1 is simple understanding and analysis, which is 1 to 2 marks. So have a look at the screen, pause the video now. Okay, so just to go through how to structure your answer, the left hand side you have a more difficult way of analysing with point, evidence, analyse, link, effect. Using a slightly more difficult way of structuring, a slightly more technical way, shall we say. And on the right hand side you've got an easier version where you can follow but still get between 5 to 6 marks out of 8 quite straightforwardly. Question 3, again 12, maximum 15 minutes, 8 marks. Question 3 is always structure. So the question here is, how is the text structured to interest you as a reader? As a tip, please make a clear statement about how the writer structured the text in order to develop the reader's understanding of a particular focus. Okay, so think about the sentence starter of, throughout the source, the writer structures the text to what's the purpose. So think, what is the main focus of the source? The beginning, how is the main focus introduced? What is the reader's first impression? How does the writer use structure and structural features to create this first impression? The middle, how is the main focus developed or contrasted through a shift of focus, so changes from one focus to something else, from outside to in and vice versa, from one character to another. How does this affect the reader's earlier impression of the main focus? And then at the end you could look at how the main focus is concluded. How does it compare to the reader's understanding at the beginning and the middle? What is our lasting impression, and how has the writer created this through their use of structure? So again, question 3, how is the text structure to interest you as a reader? Here are some model answers that you can follow to write your own. Again, if you pause the video now, and as you're writing, you can follow this. Just a few reminders in terms of the way you structure your paragraphs. Remember, it's 2 to 3 paragraphs in order to gain these marks. So point, evidence, explanation. Okay, so in the exposition, at the beginning, in the middle, at the end, this is illustrated when, with the quote, the writer use of a certain structural technique makes the reader think, feel, imagine, understand. Furthermore, it can also cause the reader to what? So think about 2 possible interpretations to get more marks. Question 4, remember this is your evaluation opinion, how far do you agree question. So it's 20 marks, 25 minutes, a minute and a half for a mark. Left hand side, obviously you've got your instructions to follow in terms of the way to go about tackling this question. So, read through the second half of the source carefully and identify 4 quotes which enable you to agree or disagree with the statement above. And the statement is, Katie is clearly very upset here, but she isn't thinking straight. She's behaving irrationally. There are 3 parts technically to this question, and they are, Katie is clearly upset, she isn't thinking straight, she's behaving irrationally. Just as a tip then, guys, so although you don't have to agree and disagree with the statement, there is usually an opportunity for you to do both through some kind of ambiguity or juxtaposing quote. So there'll be something that contrasts the ideas in the statements. Okay, so one will say that she is clearly upset, but then something else in the extract will show, for example, that she is actually thinking straight and that she isn't behaving irrationally, but there may be something as well to show the opposite of that she is thinking irrationally as well. So look for an ambiguous or juxtaposing quote and use your first analysis to agree with the statement and your link analysis to contrast or consider an alternative interpretation and disagree. So for question 4, you've got some key quotes there at the top, and then another way of tackling your responses. Again, pause the video now, I'm not going to read you all through that. Then again, some more structural points to help you to structure each paragraph. Remember, you need to do this 4 times to try and get these marks. You can't just do 1 paragraph and hope that that 1 paragraph is going to have all 20 marks in it, because there's no way it will do. Okay, so think about the way that you structure your paragraph with your point, your evidence, your analysis, your link to the quote and to the question, and the effect on the reader, or then how you would agree or disagree with the statement. Okay, just to summarise this week's task again, and reminders about paper 1 for language. The paper is worth 80 marks. You have 1 hour and 45 minutes. Always clap the extract as you read it the first time. So context, language, audience, purpose, start establishing them the minute you start reading. Do spend time reading. Don't underestimate the purpose and the power of reading the extract properly. Question 1, make sure you're taking the information from the correct lines, so lines 1 to 5. Question 2, make sure you're taking the information from the correct lines again. Check the questions. Always focus on explaining the how, so the subject terms, the techniques, the methods, and the why, the effect, okay? 3 mini paragraphs. Question 3, you need to look at the whole source. 3 paragraphs, exposition, climax, denouement, middle, end, however you want to look at it, but try and use technical vocabulary. Zooming in, perspective, narrative, voice, journey, simple, compound, complex. And question 4, make sure you are taking the information from the correct lines again. Usually 2 parts of the statement, in this case there's obviously 3. Flood your answer with subject terms from language and structure. Overuse your opinion. I think, I feel, I imagine, I critically think, I understand. Okay, so hopefully that will all make sense to you. Again, any questions, please send them to me on the Teams chat and I will be happy to help you. Take care. See you next week. Bye-bye.